if you want to introduce somebody into something, you don't begin with the big thing. Now there are several Juras, and if I remember rightly, when I did kind of discover it, it was kind of when I was living in Scotland, so that would have been around about 8 years ago, around about the beginning. This is Journey, which is the more I'd say it's the more palatable of the Juras. It's the least peaty, and it's certainly the cheapest. As you go up in price, they tend to get very peaty. It's basically it's from the Isle of Jura. A refined balance of rich fruit and gentle smoky notes from maturation in American white oak ex-bourbon barrels. So, if I remember rightly, and I don't, I would have had this in a bar first. It is a different kind of drinking culture in Scotland, particularly when you go into the smaller places. And when I moved there, I did have a bit of money still, and so yeah, you would try the. I just always remember Jura and Talisker being the two. So let's hang on. Whoop. Doesn't require a knife like the last one. So this is one of my favourites. Oh, you gotta do that. Ooh. Yeah, immediately there's a completely different smell. It's just this warm, kind of comforting smell, but I realised that that's subjective to my own opinion, my own subjective opinion. Now that's very smooth, and that last one, the overpowering of the sherry casks, there's that aftertaste, and I imagine that must be the oak coming through. Now, as I was going through my bits and pieces, we're going to do things a little bit different here. I found some glasses. There must have been an offer or something at some point, and I got some Jura glasses sent to me in the post. Yeah. So here we go. This must have been. There's no date on the box. I just had them in a cupboard and I've moved around and that, and but yeah, Jura whiskey tastable, I think. Oh, it says it right there. 2015. Fucking yeah. So they've been in the cupboard for 5 years. And it said you could put names on there, so I put Dave and Tony's because I was just finishing up my first book, and the two protagonists are called Dave and Tony, and I thought they were going to like etch them on the glass or something, but no, it was just literally a label that they stuck to the box. So yeah, very tasty looking glasses. The Jura label there on the front, and nice little motif in the middle there. So yeah, he got two of those in a box. 2 whiskey tumblers. Yeah, I don't know. I just found them as I was going through things, and because I set things up a little bit differently, you might be able to see that the camera is behind. So I found this as well. So don't know. I've only read the foreword of this because it was by Christopher Hitchens, and as everyone knows, Christopher Hitchens' favourite whiskey was Johnny Walker Black. One day I'll do one of those. Had a bottle of that once. A friend of mine bought that. I didn't quite like it immediately. It took me about half a bottle to get into it. I also found this, the Handbook of Whiskey. It's one of those things that a girlfriend bought me. I forget which one because I'm a monster. But I kept it. I didn't burn it, so there you go. But there is Jura in there, so we'll have a look through there and we might learn something from there. So it's something a bit different. Shake things up a bit. Should I wash the glass? I mean, it's been in a box for 5 years. It'll be fine. I mean, at this point, there's probably more COVID in the water than in the old stinky box. I'll give it a wipe out with a tissue. There you go. So anyway, enough babbling. So it's a very signature bottle. It kind of curves in like that. Don't know. It's just a signature of theirs. So this is the journey. Know your limits. This bottle contains 28 measures. Established 1810 in Scotland. This is usually, all Jura is really pricey. It's like it's a whiskey that you will sit and enjoy. It's not one that you're going to sit there like a bottle of Jack and just down. But this was on offer. Kind of Christmas prices, £22, and I thought I want to treat myself. This is the last of the petty cash. I mean, fucking stuff that's going on in the world. You think, fuck it, why not? So we got a lovely Jura glass. And it's a lovely golden whiskey colour. Before we open the book, let's just go with my own ideas. No, it's not overpowered with the barrel smell. The way that bloody Tamnavulin was. I think you can tell that it's the bourbon barrel, isn't it? So that kind of oakiness. It's just very smooth and very warming. I mean, I'm not getting any. It's not like I'm getting any weird kind of artificial tastes. It's like I seem to remember some whiskies and bourbons and whatnot. They add like artificial taste, and I did find that. And I think I mentioned it before. The Chivas Regal. I found it this toffee kind of. I don't know. It wasn't very pleasant. Everything's shit in the world. Everything you read is fucking awful. And even the horrible people, everything they say, there's an element of truth to it, and you think, oh fuck, what are we going to do? So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to add a splash of, I've just got this water out the fridge. Now, I've said this before. I remember I went on a bit of a road trip with a girlfriend in Edinburgh once. We went up, go over the bridge and along the coast up. And I can't remember what it was. A really nice old pub, roaring oak fire because it was winter. And you just order yourself a nice whiskey or two, and you sit in front of the fire, and you have these little jugs of water, and you kind of pour it. And I think there was a jug in there. Other places you go to the distilleries, and now you have a little pipette, like a teat pipette, like you used to get in science class in school. So this is my closest thing to that. Just add a few drops. Never really got. I'm not a connoisseur. I'm not a scientist. I'm just fucking hack drunk, really. But as I understand it, that kind of opens it up, gets the flavors out. I think the danger is of maybe. I think if I learn too much about this, I don't want to be one of those snobs. I think it's like knowing too much about wine or something. So Yeah, it's a really nice sipping whiskey. We were doing Christmas, and she bought me this. You can still get them. It's basically the 3 kinds of Jura, or maybe it was 5 kinds. I don't know. It was very, very lovely present. And so we were able to do a little tasting of the different Juras. And you kind of find as you go up in price, I think that's I mentioned earlier, as you go up in price, they do become more peaty. And I think that's particularly with, you'll notice that with the other one, Talisker, that I've spoken about. That's a very peaty one, straight from the off. And I remember my mum used to drink whiskey, and I remember she liked Jura, the Journey version of Jura, but she didn't like the Talisker. And as I say, it took me a while to kind of appreciate the peaty whiskies. And that was a good thing. I have looked into doing that, maybe of getting a selection of the miniatures of different whiskies and then doing an actual comparison taste. But that would be prohibitively expensive because they charge the earth for them. I mean, I tend to buy a bottle, enjoy it, and then when it's gone, enough time has passed so I can get another bottle. In a perfect world, you would have selections, so you'd be able to just, compare the Jura to the. You've got 2 other distinct ones that I can remember, and then compare them to the Talisker, and you've got the Talisker Ordinary, you've got the Sky, and then the 10-year-old, and the same with going between, even with the smaller, if you go with the Grants, like an ordinary Grants, and then they've got the 2 different casks. The IPA, and I think it's the sherry, or yeah, and Famous Grouse do the cask ones as well. And just to compare them, that could be a very interesting way of God. I mean, what even am I? What even is this? I think, as I explained in my last video, it's just something to keep me insane, keep me sane. Busy work for the brain, We might learn something, we might discover something, it might make someone laugh. It's good to talk, it's good to learn, it's good to discover. And we got these wonderful little glasses. That is pretty dangerous. Whereas when I was a kid, it was Teachers and Bells. So you can get Glenfiddich and Glenmorangie, and I want to say Talisker. I think they have Talisker and Witherspoons. It's been a long time since I've been in the Witherspoons because the fucking world's on fire. That's what was dangerous for me about Lithuania. You go there and you ask for a double. I think I asked for a double Jameson and Coke. We were down in Klaipeda by the sea. And I got what are they called, a schooner tall glass, and that came. It was an inch from the top filled with whiskey, and then I had the can of Coke on the side. What the fuck? Yeah. Disapproving looks from my girlfriend. Well, look at me now. Oh. I'm gonna have to introduce the dog to one of these one day. How do we do that? How do we get a dog on the whiskey thing? Anyway, this is a book called Everyday Drinking by Kingsley Amis. I don't know anything about Kingsley Amis. I believe he's a playwright. I'm not too sure. That might be Martin Amis. Martin Amis was his son or something. Oh shit! It's the first edition. Well, it is. It's the first edition. The booze got to him in the end and robbed him of his wit and charm as well as his health. But not everyone can take their own advice, or not forever. But yeah. But the closing of this is Winston Churchill once boasted that he himself had got more out of drink than it had taken out of him, and life being a wager that it is, was quite probably not wrong in that. So that's quite interesting, I thought. Once again, I haven't. I mean, when we get to this kind of price point, with single malt, well, with any whiskey really, I'm not mixing it. I'm starting to get a bit foggy in the brain. This is just more foggy. Imagine the internet, but it's like on pages, but it's only for whiskey, so you don't get distracted. This is interesting. As recently as the mid 1970s, few people had ever tasted a single malt. Scotch meant blends, and malt distilleries were simply the suppliers of fillings for the big brands. That, in itself, was a far cry from malt's rural beginnings. Okay. Right, so I found the Jura page. It basically goes into. I'll read you the beginning. You need to make a real effort to get into Jura. First, catching a tiny ferry from Islay, and then driving through a wild, deserted landscape, avoiding sheep and cows, past the enchanted garden of Jura House, and into the island's only settlement, Craig House. That was a terrible read. That sounded terrible. I'm not going to do it again, but that just sounded terrible. Do enunciate, cadence. Come on. Yeah, but we're not going to go through all that because it's really just talking about the history of the distillery and the drink itself. And you've only got basically 2 pages with photographs, but it does have that's lovely. It's like something out of a film in, I don't know, just keep saying it's been a terrible fucking week. So I found the page for Jura. There we are. I think I might have already said that. You need to make a real effort to get to Jura. First catching a tiny ferry from Islay, and then driving through a wild, deserted landscape, avoiding sheep and cows, past the enchanted garden of Jura House and into the island's only settlement. Fuck it, I don't know if it's early onset dementia, but it's all, I can't do it anymore. Everything ends up sounding like Charlotte Copley in District 9. Fucking prawns. Takes a special type of prawn to work here. What I'll do is I'll pop this one down the hatch. It used to be in the day, you'd be able to, like, a couple of times, you've been out there and, there's a girl or a lady or, even a boy, whatever. A man, you know what I mean, fuck off. And they, like, say, hello, how you doing? They got a dog as well, and you've got, shared interests already. And in the olden days, you'd immediately, offer them your hip flask and have some, yes, I'll have some. And then you'd be rushing against mighty oak in the forest, but you can't do that anymore because the plague. I must say that the cork is a lot tighter in the butt of the bottle of this one. Right. Now we're going to do the tasting notes. That's not even the taste. They don't even give the aftertaste and the palate and the initial air thing. Oh, fuck this book. I don't want to throw, so I don't want to wake the dog up, but fuck this book. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to go on the internet. But it is lovely because it doesn't have that over. But it's the kind of, if you were going to introduce it to a person who doesn't particularly like your flavoursome peaty whiskies, then I would say, yeah, start with a Jura Journey, and it's a good name because of that. So where are we here? World of flavour, yes, subtle smoke. There is definitely a sweetness, but it isn't that horrible sweetness that you would ordinarily kind of find in some of the cheaper whiskies and bourbons, and that's that kind of overly sweet, artificial kind of caramel, saccharine kind of a taste. We were cooking. We had to prepare legs of lamb, so we had to basically debone the legs. That was an interesting voyage of discovery. It's the journey, not the destination, that shapes us. How profound. The The path from our foundation to the rebirth of our distillery in 1963 has shaped the character of our community and the whiskey we produce. This road has led us to our own unique style, matured in American white oak ex-bourbon barrels. I mean, that's ultimate recycling, isn't it? If drink whiskey, you're supporting recycling. That's too good for me. I don't deserve that. So we got colour amber gold. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the guys. Yeah, it looks like amber, like there'd be a fucking dinosaur biting mosquito in it. Nose, aromas of vanilla spice. See, when they say spice, I imagine they're just saying, like, when somebody who doesn't cook will just smell something. Oh, that's spicy, isn't it? Just what? It doesn't taste of salt and pepper, and it tastes like, I don't know. Vanilla. Yeah, I guess, but I would say that vanilla is, especially if you get the fresh stuff, there's more of a poke to that. Like if I'm making a fancy cake, I mean, vanilla is, unless vanilla spice is something else. I mean, it also says citrus and a hint of light smoke. See, I'm not getting citrus off that. And I cook a lot with like lime and lemon, so I'm not getting citrus. I mean, maybe because my nose is filling with whiskey fumes. A hint of light smoke. It's definitely smoky, in its odor, in its nose, as well as its taste. Now, here's the good thing. Cinnamon. Like, I know cinnamon. You can do this. Again, I mean, cinnamon is for me that Christmassy taste. I mean, you'll drink it in tea. You'll have it. It's good to use in like making a chili or something. But I'm not picking up there. Am I broken? Is this like fucking guy with COVID does whiskey review and doesn't taste anything? This is pears. Okay, pears. Do I need to like clean my palate? No, because it's the same thing. Pears. Again with the pears and the beeches. I mean, I used to pick pears in Victoria, in Victoria in Melbourne. Fucking hell, Victoria in Australia. That was a hell of a job. I mean, basically, my one issue of fighting for either of these, the Israelis or the Palestinians, would be I would have to be circumcised, and I'm not prepared to do that. What were you talking about? Let's have another drink. We need to find different tasting notes. We need to see what we're doing wrong. Let's get the sound effect. So, I don't know if have I told enough of the wonderful things about this whiskey. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody wants to hear about where it's from, what it does, about the island of Jura. No, then it starts getting a bit silly, doesn't it? I think it might have been. I mean, this was years ago, but I think it might have been the 10-year-old, the 12-year-old, and the 18-year-old. And I think, as they develop, they get generally more kind of peaty and, and I think because everybody had a taste. This was back in the day where you could like pass a glass around and someone wasn't going to fucking die the next day. But I think everybody was of the opinion that that peatiness was a bit too much. But this is anecdotal. I can't remember. I think I might be sobering up, or I might be starting to question my life decisions. Hints of smoke and spice, cinnamon, ginger spice, honey, blah blah blah. Whispers of salty sea spray. What does that even fucking mean? Rich coffee and roasted chestnuts. I can get behind that, but yeah, Jura Superstition was like the if you can get yourself a bottle of that was lovely. But Journey was your Jura was the cheap normie. I've just been to Asda kind of a thing, and I paid like £22. It's fine. I mean, can you really justify spending more than like £25 a bottle of whiskey? And then you have to think, well, sometimes, yeah, I'm not a particularly wealthy man. There was a bottle of whiskey that I bought. I was looking for reviews for it. It was from Leaf in Edinburgh, of course, called Krabby's. It was cheap. It was an offer. It was like ordinarily £30, now 16. Of course, I know that's bullshit. I know what they're doing, but I was like, oh well, I looked at the review, and the only guy who'd left the review, it was a 1-star review. It was like, I was expecting this to come in a box, and it didn't. I'm a collector, and I'm disappointed. 1-star review. And that is kind of the problem with, well, democracy and reviewing and basically giving anyone a choice. But I have tried that whiskey, and it is actually very nice. It's very drinkable. It's and it doesn't give you a killer hangover. So maybe that's something I should be doing with these reviews. Is like, okay, drink half a bottle and see how you feel in the morning. It's weird. There's so many fucking weird people around. I'm going to drink the rest of my beer. I will say this though. I mean, I'm not feeling better or more particularly happy from having drunken some alcohol here. I mean, you know, that's the whole reason why people drink, isn't it? To feel better, to feel happy. And that's certainly, I think, why I broke this bottle open now. I'm not feeling... to feel better. I think I'm recording this video and I'm thinking maybe I should be saying something profound or I don't know, different about, offering something about the world, about, oh, did you see that shit about Trump? Did you see that shit about COVID? But, in the end, just be another fucking drunk cunt shouting into the void. And the way I always, as a kid, it used to be you drink and you feel better and you just, it makes you feel young again, like when the world was new. And that shit ain't happening really, is it? And I'm not saying that's the fault of Jura, not at all. But maybe the fact that I'm not mixing it with something, I don't know, because I wouldn't dare to mix it, because this is quality here. You don't mix quality with a whiskey like that. Maybe I'm drinking it too slowly. Is that the thing? Because I'm basically like the old guy now. I'm the old man. And I'm slowly drinking Jura. And I've had a couple of pints before. It's like I've gone to the bar on the corner. I've had a couple of pints, and everyone knows me, but nobody's really my friend. And a couple of pints of stout, Guinness, whatever, You go home, You trudge up the stairs. You sit down. You pop open the cork, and you pour yourself a Jura into your Jura glass with the motif on the bottom, and you splash in a little bit of water, and you lay back in your armchair, and you close the curtains. Well, no, you close the curtains, and then you lay back in your armchair, and then you flick on the telly, and you watch the things that your VCR has recorded. I've become my father, haven't I? But that wasn't really my point. My point was, drinking single malt isn't supposed to be a journey into self-discovery. This isn't ayahuasca. This isn't meeting. I mean, that is literally the only reason they're doing that, is to get fucked up as quickly as possible. And I'm not doing that. I got myself a nice bottle of Jura, and I'm trying to discover things, but it's not working. I'm clearly just trying to stop myself going mad. This is like one step above wanking in public just to show off the size of my cock. You don't want to talk about old friends and all that, but that fucking cork. I mean, maybe the thing with Jura is the other ones are just things that you drink and you get drunk on. I don't know, it's kind of made me depressed. But that's maybe more to do with my own brain. Maybe I was already in a shit fucking place and I was already feeling like pretty fucking wretched. I mean, I do have the brain thing. That brain thing, you gotta watch out for the brain thing. And therefore, maybe I wasn't in the best position to be doing this. But I did it now because I have appointments on Friday, and I thought if I do this now, then even if the hangover lasts for 3 days, then it's fine. I can do my shit on Friday like a boss. But in the end, I really haven't drunken that much. It's it's a little bit excessive, but when I look at the other whiskeys, particularly the bourbons, they seem to be I don't know. They seem to be more easy drinking somehow. This tastes better, but this isn't the kind of thing that you want to shove down your throat. And maybe the fact that I haven't is the fact that I'm just remained at that kind of, like you're the girl at the disco and they say, if you want to feel better, just drink more. Maybe it's that. Maybe I'm just the girl at the disco who needs to drink more. But I never liked that. I never liked being the girl at the disco who had to drink more. But if there's anything that you take away from this, particularly when it comes to the more expensive peaty whiskies, always add a few dashes of water there just to open it up, just to give the taste and just make it a little bit. I don't know. It's not. If you're sipping it already, just make it easier to enjoy. And you get so much more taste out of it. You know that all-you-can-eat fucking buffet, but you're doing it on vol-au-vents. people writing to me for fucking suggestions on how they what's the best way of dealing with mental illness. Well, not fucking this. I fucking yeah. This is a lovely whiskey. It's really nice, but it isn't. It's not one to party on. Because I think it's one to. I think it's the kind of whiskey you would drink and feel sad about. You just like. It's one that you would go and sit down by the seaside, sit on the pebbles, and listen to the waves roll in, and the only light is from the old deserted pier, and you just hear your own thoughts, hear your own thoughts, and the destitute loneliness of what the future might pertain to be, considering everyone's dying, and that's it. But it tastes lovely. I don't know what else to say. It's it's one of my favourite ones, but I don't know if it's the hero we need, but it's the one that we don't deserve right now. You know, it's that fucking thing, isn't it? I mean, these days, buy yourself a bottle of bourbon, a cheap bottle of bourbon, shove that down your throat, and feel better, champ. But something, these delicious single malts and that, no. Save them for the next generation, because we don't deserve them.